What's the catch? You work for us.
Who's us?
The CIA. We're going to train you to kill bad guys. And since you've already killed one, it shouldn't be too difficult.
What makes you think I want to do it again?
You seem like the type. You'd be part of an elite unit, the Sierra program. You'd exist in the gray.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.
The fact that those jumper cables were hooked to that guy's cheeks.
Handy, was that a pun? Because it's handgun. How low can you go? This isn't fair. We don't have basements in Florida.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sidetrack our whole podcast here for just a second because this is too funny of a story not to even go here. And I'm gonna introduce our guest here in just a second, but I have to say this now. Andrew, you remember when we did the Cowboys and Aliens episode? I kept commenting how your voice was just so sexy and that you were sounding like Sam Elliott the whole time.
I really just, I was flattered and I didn't want to say anything, but I'd been working on it. You know, I'd been, been smoking a little bit and drinking some whiskey.
Well, here's the really funny part.
I'm just kidding. I hadn't really.
Somehow I accidentally activated some kind of filter on your channel. So the whole night when I was listening to you, you literally were modulated lower than you normally sounded. You
know what this is like? It's like when someone uses a filter on Snapchat and then you see them without the filter and you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. I feel like you really, really enjoyed what you were hearing. And then once you realized that it wasn't, you were like, oh God, it's well,
the funny part is that because of the way the audio worked in the intro, when you say the greater good, that's with the modulation on. And then the rest of the episode is just your normal voice. But I mean, it is a different voice. I wish I'd have pulled a clip. I wish I'd have pulled a clip just so you can hear it. I should have done it, but I'm behind. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. It was just too funny not to tell you that. All right.
Here I was thinking I had a future being like a voiceover actor for Sam Elliott.
I mean, you do, but like what I was listening to was very different. So this is episode 408, and tonight we're talking about The Gray Man. This is a brand new movie, and I'm very excited to talk about this movie with you. Speaking of you, I am Sean Ard, and joining me tonight is Andrew. Is not allowed to chew bubblegum here, Jimison.
I thought the Gray Man was in The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's Gandalf the Gray.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Wasn't it with Liam Neeson and a wolf or something?
That's the Gray, and I think that's spelled with an E, isn't it?
Oh, well, there was a guy in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Is that who we're talking about?
Oh, that's Dorian Gray.
Okay, sorry.
No, this one's about that hospital show with that girl and her last name's Gray.
Exactly.
Gray's Anatomy.
No, it's about that X-Men character. What was it? She's got the psychic powers.
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey. I couldn't think of her name.
I thought we were pausing for suspense, but
no, I couldn't think of her name for a second.
We're just geriatric millennials.
Yeah, the geriatric millennials. We're gonna bring that back up. The bit was lost only because I recently was on an episode of another show and we did the movie Nightcrawler, and the Twitter feed that I'm in, they were upset because the movie is not about Nightcrawler. I'm like, no, it's actually a really good movie though. You should check it out. Those are strange voices. Well, who are those voices? I am here to tell you those voices are Matt, never throw a loaded gun.
Howdy, howdy.
And Lauren, that's a really interesting way to get a manicure, from the Hops Geek News podcast. I said that wrong. Hops Geek News podcast. There we go. I got to say it right.
It's always a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Hey.
So welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is very awesome.
No, thank you for having us. It's really exciting, especially talking about this movie with two hunky gentlemen. And Andrew, your voice, it's very beautiful. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't know who he's
I'm a
talking
little
about.
disappointed. I really like Sam Elliott's voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to do my best.
Yeah.
You don't need any voice modulation. You sound great.
Oh, thanks.
This is going to be a good episode. I can already tell. We're already flirting with each other. It's awesome. So yeah, 2022's The Gray Man just came out. It was in theaters for a little bit, but it's a Netflix original. I think it holds the record for being the highest budgeted Netflix movie, right? This is close to like a $200 million movie, if I remember correct.
Or more, actually.
Yeah. And I can tell, I mean, there's not a lot of CGI or anything in this movie, but this movie is a 2 hours of action, nonstop, good gracious, balls to the wall, blow up a lot of cars and stuff like that. So, and it's also directed by Anthony Russo and Joe Russo, the Russo brothers, the gentlemen behind Avengers, Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War, and Winter Soldier. So these guys know how to do some action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Andrew, tell people, what is the Gray Man?
When the CIA's most skilled operative, whose true identity is known to none, accidentally uncovers dark agency secrets, a psychopathic former colleague puts a bounty on his head, setting off a global manhunt by international assassins.
It's almost too wordy, but
I was getting ready to say that there's a lot of words in there.
Yeah. It's almost a joke that we complain about the Netflix read, but that's fine. So before I go,
Not always accurate either on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like you can have a show and the description's like, well, that is not what this episode is about, but nice try.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been suggested to me that I should write them myself, but it almost is a little bit of comic relief just reading them. And also it's one less thing that I have to do is what it ultimately comes down to, because I'm lazy. But what I should have done beforehand, and I apologize, is I should have given Matt and Lauren an opportunity to tell us about their podcast. I usually do that before the read, but because I'm not good at this, I forgot. So please tell us about your podcast so that we know who you are.
So like you mentioned before, yes, we're Hops Geek News. We're actually a spinoff of Hops News. So what Hops News is a podcast focusing on beer. We have a lot of like local breweries will come on and talk. We've had maltsters. We've had all sorts of people in the beer industry come on. And Matt and I would consistently, when we first started, go off on tangents about quote unquote geek related things. Like one day we started arguing about the Game of Thrones ending, or we went off on a tangent about Wolverine. And so the guy who runs the beer one was like, you guys should do a spinoff and then you guys can do whatever you want. And we've been doing this. We just hit 2 years. Like many people, we started podcasting during COVID, but we've continued to do it. I think we've released a podcast every week, except maybe once when he was deployed and out of town and we lost an episode, and we've been having a great time. I mean, we every week we do recent news and then we'll have a main topic. It could be anything from why Die Hard's a Christmas movie to the comic book origin of a movie that's about to come out. Like we're going to do She-Hulk next week, and we're just going to talk comic book origin before the show comes out. And basically we talk about anything that we enjoy talking about that our significant others may not enjoy talking about. And we do it while we're drinking a good local craft beer.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed, you did like a 2 or 3 part series on Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Star Wars month, baby.
Yeah. And I was very interested in listening to that, especially the episode. I can't remember who your guest was, but he's a guest that I've had on, who was talking about primarily the time between episode 3 and episode 4. So talking about Clone Wars. Well, Clone Wars is mostly in between 2 and 3, but it spans a little bit into, but Clone Wars and Rebels and then Rogue One and Solo. So you spent like a whole 2 hours just about that time period. And it was a really fun episode. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you. There's a lot to talk about there. So
yeah. Oh gosh,
yeah.
I could do a 2 hour episode on just Rebels.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say we had to limit it to just this month. So next May, we'll probably dive into like Star Wars month part 2, because you could write an entire novel, multiple, about just one section.
Yeah.
Well, and there's so much content coming out too with the books and the comics as well. Like we're both actively reading different comics and books they're claiming to be canon and part of everything. So, I mean, yeah, Star Wars is like Marvel. It's just never ending. There's so much content.
Well, it's, owned by the same people and they want that money. So,
yeah, and I give them every penny I can.
Yeah.
So tangent here. My son brought this up to me today, and I don't know whether he is making this up, if he heard this somewhere, or I don't know. Speaking of Marvel and Star Wars, he said that there was a plan originally to put Luke Skywalker somewhere in the multiverse in the MCU as some sort of, kind of like how Pixar puts little hints of other Pixar movies in their in the movies. I don't know where he heard this, and he couldn't tell me, but he swears up and down that's a thing, and I'm pretty sure he's just lying. But
Star Wars does exist in the Marvel universe, though, because you have obviously, Spider-Man built the Death Star. Yeah, the movies do, and so you even see in Internals. I think there's a Star Wars book. So in that regard, but I love how Pixar does that. They do the little Easter eggs for the next movie, so you don't even know until later.
Yeah,
right.
It would be kind of interesting. Like they do some kind of weird multiverse thing, and like there's people over there fighting lightsabers, and they just like keep it super small.
Be a hero con.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like also Star Trek exists too, right? Because even in not Civil War, but in Winter Soldier, when Chris Evans pulls out his little notebook, he's written. There is a funny joke though in that movie when they go to meet Zola, who's the computer now, right? And she makes the comment of, "Do you want to play a game?" And then she says, "It's from a movie." And he goes, "Yeah, I've seen it." And it's like, wait a minute, you watched War Games before Star Trek or Star Wars? Like Captain America, what are you doing? Who's ever in charge of your movie list is messed up.
Awful.
Speaking of Chris Evans, though, he is in this movie that we're now going to talk about, The Gray Man. And we all have our 5-word reviews. I'll say this real quick. Again, directed by the Russo brothers. The last movie that I watched that they didn't direct, but they produced, and we loved, the three of us loved, was Extraction. Extraction?
Oh, that's a really good movie, yes.
Yeah. I really loved it. I mean, it's probably my favorite straight-to-streaming thing I've seen. I can't think of anything better than it right now.
Right.
And I love what they did. It just feels like these brothers are constantly pushing the bounds of the technology when it comes to making the movie. Obviously, I'm not talking about like crazy CGI stuff, but like in Extraction, going from inside a car to outside a car, and that's a 12-minute one take. I mean, to go from indoors to outdoors is hard, let alone into cars and out of cars. And it's just so well done. And they film it so that there's no cuts. There's 2 cuts in that long scene, and you kind of have to really look for them, but it's so well done. And so when I was watching this movie, I was looking for whatever the next thing was going to be. And we're going to get into it. It was the drone work in this movie. I was so impressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because I feel like drones are like the new way to shoot films.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a lot more of that. So Andrew, why don't you lead off with your 5-word review?
Well, Sean, it's funny that you brought up everything you just brought up.
Okay.
Because my first 5-word review is this.
Is it actually 5 words?
Yeah.
Oh, what is this, like week 6 in a row?
It is, yeah. Extraction was much, much better.
Okay.
There's number 1. Number 2, but cool camera work.
Wow.
So it's funny that you just had that conversation because those are both of my 5-word reviews. Those drones were. At one point, though, toward the end, I did feel myself thinking, "Okay, enough with that shot."
Yeah,
and I think it was where the drone goes under the bridge and then it like sweeps up to show the
castle.
The castle, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we've seen you do that shot now about 5 times. It's really cool, but okay, enough of that. This story, I don't know this story. I know this is a book, I think, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think I read that somewhere on IMDb that this is based on a novel. because there were some Karens, and I say that because my wife's name is Karen, complaining that the movie is not as good as the book. So if you have read this book, then good for you, but I have not, and I can't compare it. But the story I thought was fine, and just not necessarily one we've seen before, but we have seen before in certain ways. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The fight scenes, this is, like you said earlier, this is like packed with action from start to finish. And I do appreciate that, because it does keep you interested in what's going on visually. It's like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. And, that's kind of how it keeps you involved. But as far as aside from the action, I don't know that I would enjoy this movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The first drone shot that I really paid a lot of attention to was when they were fighting and the fireworks were going off.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was so awesome. And then there were some other really cool visual effects that were used. I think there was a scene where I can't remember exactly what was happening, but there was a gun on the floor. And the camera was focused on the gun, and there was so much action and fighting going around the gun, but you hear it and you know it's happening, but all you're drawn to is the picture of that gun there on the ground, and wondering what's going to happen next. So there's some really clever visual work and camera work that make this film enjoyable, along with the action. But there are some issues we can talk about later as we go.
All right. Okay. Matt.
All right. Well, I got absolutely corny and fun-filled, because I feel the opposite. I know that this movie was cheesy. Chris Evans is hamming it up. He knows what movie he is in. Ryan Gosling plays this awkward, badass straight man so perfectly that it's like, it feels almost like an 80s action hero in a way. But the whole movie just felt fun. It didn't take itself too seriously, I felt, which is what I want in a movie that is 2 hours of breakneck, just nonstop action sequences. Because some of my favorite movies of all time are 80s action movies. And this kind of makes me think back to those where it doesn't take itself seriously. The plot isn't so over convoluted that there's some sort of crazy thing going on. It's pretty simple overall. And I thought the actors all played their parts to perfection. You have Ana de Armas. She does that kind of, tries to be a hero but gets caught in the gray area. She does that perfectly. Like I said, Chris Evans is hamming it up like no other. His villain phase, I'm here for. And then Ryan Gosling is just he's dry humor. It brings you in, and just the action. And I gotta mention too, the camera work, like you said, like the drones, the way that we're using drones now to shoot films. There are times that it feels like it's a Disney ride. You know, if you've ever been in Universal for Harry Potter, you kind of feel like you're weaving and diving through. This is a movie that I think would have worked really well in IMAX with those shots. So it's a shame that it was Netflix released only. But I had fun, man. I really did. I didn't go in thinking that I was going to be best movie ever, and I had no expectations. So I think that's kind of why I was like, I'm good with this. I think this was better than Extraction. I'll say it.
All right. Hey, that's fine. Okay. Lauren?
What about your 5? I'm waiting for his 5-word review.
Oh, I did 5.
Oh.
My first 5 was, I can't remember what I said now. It was like absolutely corny and action filled or something like that. I led off with my 5. That was my 5.
Oh, I just thought you were saying that and you just kept going.
God, you just don't listen. I really feel like you just don't listen to me.
Are we going to have did you guys come here for an intervention? Is that why we're here?
I just feel underappreciated.
We're looking for other partners so we can break up our own.
That's fine.
This is actually an interview.
Nice. Well, we've not had Sam here for so long that it's it feels natural. We can just have one of you guys can just slide into his seat. I'm sure he'll brush off the crumbs. It's fine.
I'm kind of worried about him. Big guy. Miss him.
So my 5-word review for this movie, and I'll keep it PG, is Chris Evans is America's a-hole. I loved him in this movie.
Yeah.
It was so fun to see Captain America be not just the bad guy, but be completely psychotic and unhinged. But I also agree, though. The fighting scenes are what made the movie. The storyline was lagging, and they focused too much on the fighting. The fighting was phenomenal. It was beautifully choreographed fighting. But it was similar to, like you were saying, with the drone work. There was almost too much of a good thing, and it came at the expense, I felt, of the story. And so I was happy that you had said that, because Matt and I talked a little bit about this movie before, and he, absolutely loved it, and I did very much so enjoy it. But I just felt like, well, I need more story. The characters were fantastic. I was invested in the characters. The one girl who's Colleen from Iron Fist, I didn't know if she was like morally compromised, if she was good, if she was bad. I loved seeing in the end that she was not the greatest person, because she has such a moral compass in Iron Fist, but she kept questioning if what they were doing was the right thing, but she was thinking strategically. She wasn't thinking morally, and we didn't know that until the end. I loved her character. And if they're going to do a sequel, I'm hoping we'll get more from that. And, was mentioned, the book was better. It probably was, but I also feel like when people say that, and I've said that about stuff too, they're also like, hey, I read the book. So I also feel like that's a little nod. But overall, I like this movie. I haven't seen Extraction. I've seen parts of it because my husband watched it. And so it was like I walked in. That's the one with Chris Hemsworth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to go back and watch that from beginning to end. It was one of those, like, my husband's watching in the living room and I saw parts, so I never sat down and watched the whole thing.
That's fair. It's worth the watch. It's a little bit shorter. I think that as far as plot goes, it's a simpler movie than this. I mean, it's like there's a kid, he needs to be extracted. Let's go get him.
Yeah, I saw that part.
Like, that's it.
Yeah,
like
that's literally all it is.
That's just the plot.
So I saw the whole movie then. I watched like 20 minutes. All right, perfect.
It's like Die Hard in India. I mean, that's just what it is. It's Die Hard in India, only it's Chris Hemsworth being awesome. And yeah, that's some good stuff.
Badass.
Yeah, badass.
I will say
so it's
that
a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Yes, in India.
And now I will say that I agree with both of you about Chris Evans. Like this in Knives Out. That's the first time we kind of get a glimpse of him as a villain in a villain role or villainous role.
Yeah, Corny would argue Scott Pilgrim versus the World is the first time.
I know, but
man.
Honestly, he's a little forgettable, in my opinion there. But because we get him as Captain America for so long, we're used to the good boy image. And I love the fact that actors in general are willing to say, I will not be typecasted, and I'm going to do something different. And as a matter of fact, if you read the trivia, he was up to play the lead role of this film and turned it down to be the villain because
I love it even more now.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool that you said that. Yeah.
I feel like that works. That really just works for both characters. It fell in a perfect place because I want to live in the world that Chris Evans is just hamming it up in like this cartoon villain where he's just twirling his mustache in the corner. Like anytime he did anything in this movie, I'm just picturing him twirling his mustache like a 50s cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had mentioned it on our show too. I'm like, yeah, he could have tied somebody to the train tracks. Like it was just with a lit thing of dynamite ready to go. Like he really was just anything goes. And that the fact that his first scene too is he's torturing somebody and it's like a hobby.
Right.
Yeah. He's pulling fingernails off Billy Bob Thornton, but at the same time, you're like, I'm kind of here for the comedic factor in some weird way. Like, is this funny? Is like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
It was
funny. The fact that those jumper cables were hooked to that guy's cheeks.
Yeah.
that just kind of made me laugh. Like every torture scene we've ever seen, it's always been somebody shirtless and they're like shocking them in the chest or whatever. But to see it on someone's cheeks, I was like, all right, this is kind of funny.
that just looked painful. Like just that part, right? Like just take these things off my face. I'll tell you what you want to know.
When this even was a scene where he grabbed like Billy Bob Thornton's just ear.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not even torture. I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, I just made that up on the spot.
I just made it up on the spot. Yeah.
No, you didn't. That's like a mom move. Like back in like
he like twisted. He was like grabbing and twisting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is funny because like in the moment as I'm watching, I even thought, is that a thing that people like? Is that a thing?
That's
that
what I was thinking.
Is that what they teach you in the CIA to twist their ears? That does seem strange.
I just want to know how he didn't get blisters on his heels with those shoes. I mean, you didn't see socks.
He's doing them in like yacht shoes the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's being like very active in shoes. I mean, even if he has socks on, they're not covering his heel properly to prevent a blister.
Look, we saw him run downtown Brooklyn barefoot in Captain America. Okay, those feet are made for running.
That's right. Those are America's feet.
That's right. Those are America's feet.
All right. My 5-word review is a CIA. So that's like, I have to make that one word. So CIA assassin grows a conscience. So that's one. Mm-hmm. And then my second one was fun action plus evil Evans.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I had a good time. Evans. I like that.
Yeah. I had such a good time with this movie. I too went in this with very little expectations. What I'd seen a little bit on Twitter was, it's fine. It's okay. But usually when I see that usually means that I know that I'm going to like it. And if someone goes, this movie is excellent, then I know I'm probably not going to like it. It's just, I'm not trying to be contrarian. It's just kind of how it is, just kind of the way it works out. I had a good time with this movie. I had such a good time. Evans, you're right. Like we've already said it. He has just hammered it up. Almost all of the clips that I have of this movie are him saying things because it's just funny. I mean, he just had Ryan Gosling probably only has, it feels like he only has like 10 lines of dialogue in the whole movie. He doesn't talk a lot. But like you said, what he does is super dry in his delivery. Like basically, he's still kind of playing the character from Blade Runner 2049.
Yes.
He's very stoic, very dry, confident in his abilities to kill anyone he needs to. And then but still has enough wit and humor to do a little bit of give and take. You know, like at the end when Chris Evans like, you know what I'm thinking? And he goes, that you overshared. You know, like that's a quick response. Yes. Like that's a funny response. Yeah. And there's multiple times of that in this movie where I really liked it. You know, like when they're on the phone and he goes, you know what? I've decided that I don't like you. You know, just things like that. It's just really kind of fun and clever. But we've all mentioned it, the fight scenes. I mean, this movie opens. It opens obviously in the prison where he's being recruited, and then we get to the scene in, I guess it's China. So the Russo brothers are doing what we always ask of, especially in this podcast. Show me something new. Obviously, we've seen fight scenes, but we've never seen a fight scene in the middle of a fireworks launcher bay.
Yes.
Like, how cool is that? And the fact that they got turned into weapons, right? The bad guy from, Captain America Winter Soldier gets shot in the face with a...
Well, yeah, you're sitting there like somebody's going to get hit in the face. That anticipation of somebody's catching a firework, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He gets hit in the face with a firework. And then there was a lot of that kind of thing, like a lot of fire damage, right? Because Evans got shot in the back by a flare gun.
Yes.
I mean,
that was hilarious. They kept shooting the flare gun.
I have to say this.
It was a handgun.
Nope, that's not the right one. Wait, what?
It was a handgun.
What?
Was it a handgun, Sean?
But was it a handgun?
Aren't all guns handguns if they're in your hands?
That's weird. Like, I don't know why I have that. Like, Clips is labeled Breakfast Club flare gun, but she says handgun. I don't know.
So how many of you did? Okay, so when he threw the gun and he says nobody throws a loaded gun, I assumed that gun was going to then be picked up and shoot Evans with it. Like, was anybody else expecting that?
No, you don't throw a loaded gun.
At the end,
that was the whole thing. That it was like he's like, of course it's not loaded, and he was messing with him because nobody does that, but that other girl did that. So I thought that was going to be a whole thing. I feel like maybe the Russo brothers were like messing with us, like, okay, this is what you're going to be expecting because we said this before because he straight up threw the gun.
Well, we see him empty the gun, right? We see him empty it and he throws it. And then that's when Evans is like, I meant with the bullets. And he goes, no one throws a loaded gun. I figured
there was one bullet left in there or something.
Well, you
sleight
see
of
him
hand or something.
I did think you're not wrong. I actually thought maybe he had a magazine like in his pocket, so like when they're fighting in the water, he was going to find the gun and then reload
pick it up.
something like
that
that.
Would have been like very classic trope, right? Like I feel like that's what
Yes.
they were wanting you to think, because the classic trope is there's obviously a bullet or something, and then that's going to come into play.
Right. It's gonna
But
be
they
a
did a great
connection to that
job.
line.
Yeah, they did a great job being like, nope, he's just very against throwing loaded weapons.
Yeah. But then the ending, I mean, let's talk about the ending. Like they're having
consistent.
He was consistent. So they're having the fist fight, right? And at first, Gosling is just 100% in control. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be a fair fight. And then Evans pulls out the knife, and then things kind of get more even. And then ultimately,
Would you say he had his knife out?
That's true. I would say that. And then Colleen Week shows up and shoots him, which was weird. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
And then she shoots Gosling in the leg, and he's like, "Can I just go over here and bleed for a little bit?" And then she goes into this long plan, and he just goes. I love how he raises his hand too. She's like, "What is this? A question?" He goes, "Do I get to live in your plan?" "Yes." "Okay, that's fine." I don't know. I really had a good time with this movie. It really made me laugh, and I'm here for it.
There were a lot of moments that were kind of unexpected humor. And I think it is partially to the credit of the actors. I mean, I'm sure that some of that stuff was not scripted from Chris Evans and from Ryan Gosling, because I think both of them are pretty quick on their feet. And, there were some moments that were just, even though I feel like it's supposed to be mostly serious movie, there are, like you said, it doesn't take itself seriously.
I mean,
and you see that in the scene where he's handcuffed to the bench, and he's like, Chris Evans is like, could somebody please shoot the guy that's handcuffed to the bench?
Yeah.
Right.
So I love when movies are silly like that and they call themselves out. That to me makes it okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that same scene where Gosling is shooting the two guards or policemen that are coming at him, and then he goes to shoot the handcuff to let himself free, and it's out of ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole scene was shot so well, because we're going to get a little technical. The things that I like about it, when you have a fight scene like this, a choreography, the directors do something really great. They establish where we are, right? We're in this courtyard. And Gosling even says, "You should clear the courtyard." He steals the weapon, fires in the air so we can clear the courtyard. So we get some bystanders out of the way. And then when the vehicles start coming in with the mercenaries and they start shooting, we know where everyone is. There's a lot of times in action movies, you don't really know where people are, and it's confusing. And I think the director wants you to be confused. They don't want you to know where things are, because then it's easier to hide other things. But like this movie felt like, specifically in this scene, we're going to use a lot of wide shots, right? I mean, there's a lot of shots of Gosling hiding behind that stone bench, which how thankful for him is that it was a stone bench, right? Or concrete or whatever. But there's a lot of shots that are really wide where you see the truck coming in, and then the police SWAT coming in, and the guy with the grenade launcher, and there's a guy with a machine gun, like a legit belt-fed machine gun. I mean, these guys had more, armaments than the U.S. military. And that everything in that scene was so well done and shot, and the action was so intense. I really, really, I can't express, it's hard to express in a podcast how good the action is in this movie. Yeah. But it's just like I wanted to turn the volume up, but I couldn't because I was going to wake my kids up.
Well, I felt like they did that intentional, because the main bad guy, one of their issues with him was he doesn't care if he kills bystanders, or, he doesn't care about anybody who's collateral damage. And that was Ryan Gosling. I think they were trying to differentiate why Ryan Gosling is the good guy, even though he lives in the gray and he's, came from prison, is he's trying to save these bystanders and he doesn't want collateral damage. And so I felt like that whole scene was really trying to showcase the difference between him and the actual evil dude, who he never really got his day. Like, he still needs to have it coming.
Right. I think what they also do is, like you had mentioned, the action was so well shot is because more often than not in these action sequences too is they do a lot of quick cuts and things like that, which you didn't get a lot of here. So it's very easy to get confused. Maybe they do it because, hey, in actual action sequences, this is how gunfights, go about. But it was fluid, I think is the word that I want to use. Like everything was very fluid. You're like you said, you knew who the bad guys were. You knew where the cops were. And you knew where obviously Ryan Gosling was. And then you also, it was very, and then the car chase scene where, Ana de Armas is driving up the street, and that whole sequence was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, oh, my voice cracked. That was awkward. One of my favorite moments in that train sequence is when Gosling is on the roof of the train and he's got a gun and he looks in the reflection of the buildings and sees the bad guy walking up, so he knows when to shoot. Like, that's so clever. I love it when
it's little things like that,
know. I love it when my heroes are clever, where it's more than just brute strength or luck. Now, obviously, he obviously has a lot of plot armor happening. I mean, there was a lot of bullets flying near him, but
he was mush. His ribs and everything else were mush. He gets hit by cars, thrown out of a plane. But aside, it's those,
like
those
John
smart
McClane.
things. Yeah, it's those little moments where the reflections, or you see him being smart and actually feeling these injuries where you're like, all right, I can set that stuff aside and appreciate what they're giving us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those fight scenes, I mean, some of them were like dance scenes. It was like watching, Shang-Chi when they did like the dance / fight scene. They flowed so well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. The other things that I really keyed in on was the obviously the fight scene in the hospital with the guy. I forgot his name. Anyway, the other guy.
I forget his name, but yes, the guy who also turns morally gray and is like, these people are so weird.
Well, he's basically says they are without honor. Avik San, I think is his name, his real name.
Oh yeah, he was so funny when they were choking each other.
Yeah. And then but like he walks in the room and just like stabs Gosling in the hand, and it's so funny. Like Gosling is just like, he's like mad, like you know what I'm saying. Like it's just he just stands there. He's like, really? You just stab me with
it's like inconvenience.
Yeah, you just stab me with a pocket knife, and now I gotta fight you and whatever. But then you think he's actually a really good fighter, and he kicks both of their butts pretty good, which of course leads to that funny bit about the loaded gun and all that stuff. So that was pretty funny though. I did like, I mean, because it's like it's a bit, right? It's obviously a bit, and then there's payoff later, right? Because then later we get the joke of, they find that she says, hey, if you're gonna pick up that guy's gun, make sure it's loaded. Like there's, and then we get again to toss later, which we've already mentioned, but it's also a bit that like there's some truth to it. I'm not going to throw you a loaded gun, up a building. Whereas in a regular movie, a regular action flick, not only would he do that, but you're throwing guns left and right or whatever. So I like that. Couple other bits that I really enjoyed. Again, more clever stuff. We haven't really talked about it yet. So when he gets trapped in the pit, right, in the trapdoor thing, and he makes like the gun, whatever, explosion door thing. My only question is that did he know bad guys were there, or was it just good timing?
I think it was just good timing.
I think he knew they were coming and was ready to make it happen when they were there.
Yeah.
I think he probably saw shadows, I imagine.
Well,
yeah.
In my mind, he was setting up the guy that trapped him. Like he was trying to get him, and they just happened to come in at that time. So I just thought it was kind of good timing. I will say that some of the reviews that I read before the show tonight were, again, referring to the book and saying that in the book he is much smarter than he is in the movie. Like he's smart in the movie, but maybe that does show that he was planning for these guys to come in. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, even if he wasn't,
they're on the way.
Yeah. I think you're right.
He knew he was like a bounty. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew why he had been dropped in that pit. But I love the whole like swimming up thing. I feel like there's been other movies before where I've seen it and I'm just like, well, why don't they just wait until it fills up and swim up? I don't see what the issue is. And I love that they actually did that.
Yeah. And he builds this whole thing with the stuff in his backpack and I mean, he MacGyvered the hell out of that thing. And
yes, yes, this movie could have been called MacGyver 2022.
Right. I mean, he does MacGyver it. And that scene was really, really cool. I also like how he knew the trap was coming. He just didn't see it. Like he was looking for the trap, right? When the photographer's taking all these pictures, like something is off and he's trying to figure out what it is. And he doesn't sense the trap door until he falls down and, nearly, breaks an ankle. I mean, you're right. His lower extremities in this movie take a beating between the airplane bit where he falls out and has to like hitch a ride with that guy down. I'm sure that landing wasn't comfortable.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then the fall down the pit and then getting hit by a car and then he jumps off the train onto another car, which I'm sure probably felt really great. There's some other things too. Yeah. He
goes shot a couple times.
Stabbed in the hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets stabbed a lot. Or
he
one of them gets stabbed
Chris
a lot.
Evans stabs him a few times.
Well, and then in the fight in the hospital, he gets stabbed with those big scissor things, and he calls him an amateur. He's like, he missed my liver and kidneys, amateur, Again, he's more annoyed than anything else. He's just an inconvenience. Oh, it's so good. A couple other notes I have here before we play some clips. I didn't do a whole lot of notes on this movie. I did write, hey, that's the guy from Bridgerton. So we haven't really mentioned him yet. The very attractive,
yes, the bad guy.
Yeah, the head CIA bad guy, Carmichael. I can't pronounce his first name. Regé Jean Page.
Oh, the main bad dude that's cool with killing like.
No, not Chris Evans.
Yeah, like he's the overall bad guy, the who's hiding the thumb drive of all the things that he's done evilly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's from Bridgerton. He was one of the main love interests in Bridgerton. So as soon as we saw him on screen, it was both weird to see him with an American accent, and of course, to see him as a bad guy. But I mean, I thought he was good. He's a trope, right? He's a one-dimensional trope. He's a bad guy. He gets angry. He throws things. He's willing to screw over whoever, I should say.
Yeah, he filled his role.
Yeah, and it was fine. I think you mentioned, Lauren. I think you mentioned like there's. Or maybe Matt, I don't remember, sorry, the possibility of a sequel. I do think this movie sets up a sequel because
they actually announced already that they're doing some spin-off stuff.
Well, they mentioned several times the old man, and we don't know who that is.
Right.
Like they keep talking about the old man, and we don't know who that is. I mean, somebody, we know they allude in the movie multiple times that somebody is elevating Carmichael, and we don't know who that is. So I do think at some point we're going to have to find out who that is. And I'm here for it. If the Russo brothers direct it, I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah. Full stop. Same.
So when I take my notes, I sometimes will make predictions. And in this case, I was wrong. I thought... Ana de Armas, or Armas, as you pronounce it, I thought she was going to be a bad guy. And the only reason why I thought that, this is true, Apple will not let you use an iPhone as a character if you're a bad guy. You can only be a good guy. So if you're ever watching a movie and they're holding a phone, take a look. If it's an iPhone, they're a good guy. If it's not, they could be a bad guy.
So it's like the new smoking.
Yeah. It's a contract. They have it all. So the girl, the niece.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm glad I have an iPhone. It makes me feel like a better person.
Yeah, well, of course you are, and not just because of that, but for other reasons, I'm sure. But yeah, so Ana de Armas she has like a Samsung in the beginning of the movie, and I thought, ooh, she's gonna be a bad guy. But I guess she kind of wasn't. I think she was kind of. Again, everyone in this movie is kind of in the gray. Well, not everybody. Her and Gosling are both kind of in the gray. I mean, they have their moral compass, but I think for the most part, they're kind of operating in the gray. There's obviously some, true bad guys, but it doesn't feel like there's any one person that's a good guy. That makes sense.
My grandmother has a Samsung, Sean, and
Is she a bad guy?
I don't know how I feel about her anymore.
She's not a good guy.
What does she do in her time off? Like, what's going on? Is she running any sort of CIA operation?
Is she strangling cats?
She runs a drug ring.
Yeah, a meth lab.
Nice.
Meth lab.
Well, the hills of North Carolina, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, Andrew, and I think this is interesting. So you could do, Matthew and Lauren mentioned that their host show, Hops News. I was talking to the host of that, and he lives in Boone, North Carolina.
Oh,
yeah.
So
we've been there before.
Yes, we have. In fact, I'm going
several years there.
Yeah, I'm going back there in a few once the football season starts, and I think we're gonna try to plan up and meet and shake hands. And
I was gonna say you're gonna see him there then.
Yeah,
he's at every home game. Yeah,
big football fan, Appalachian.
Cool. Yeah, that's where we went. Andrew and I went, and Sam. Yeah. We went to App State, and yeah, he graduated about 10 years after I did, so I'm old. Which is fine.
Geriatric millennial.
Geriatric millennial. That's right. That's the phrase.
I think I'm a geriatric millennial too.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think we're all basically the same age.
That's not. He's younger.
Oh,
he's just a millennial. He's not a geriatric one.
Young buck.
That's true.
No, it's okay. That's okay.
He's a young buck. He keeps the show young.
Yeah. I work on a college campus, so I mean Andrew works off at a high school, so we're around young people all the time. They make us feel old.
Yeah, I got a few of them living in my house.
Russo brothers love a good USB prop. I felt like this was kind of the same same bit from Winter Soldier. Let's see. Okay. Last thing, finger torture really bothers me. Oh, I always have a hard time with finger torture. We saw that.
Anyone who doesn't owns a Samsung because
yeah,
that is just terrible.
I love it. What was that movie, Andrew? We watched American Assassin or American Spy with the Kid and Batman. Help me out, somebody.
The Kid and Batman.
Batman. Who played Batman?
Christian Bale, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton is like a CIA guy. He's
it is American Assassin. Yeah.
American Assassin. Yeah. Michael Keaton gets his fingernails ripped out too. And he just like in this movie, he's just like screaming and laughing at the guy doing it. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. I can't even, if I cut my cuticle too close, I
Yeah. Same.
I'm a giant weenie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Ugh.
So the last thing I want to mention about the drones, my favorite drone shot by far is when they're sneaking into the hospital and the drone flies over the head of all the crowd and then goes into the hospital and then turns around where the transition is to the handheld camera as they're walking into the hospital. It was so well done. I was so impressed. I said out loud, cool drone shot. I mean, it was, that stuff really got me. Thought that was really awesome.
Agreed.
I don't know when we started using drones in film, but the thing that I think you shared it, Sean, that one shot that was like going into a bowling alley and between people's legs that somebody did, which I think that was proven that it wasn't a full.
No, it was a one shot, but it was.
Oh, was it?
It was. They did 4 or 5 takes of it, but it was very planned. It was.
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it wasn't like a on the spot thing. It was. Yeah, choreographed.
But that's the first time that I can remember seeing something filmed really well with a good quality camera on a drone, because I still think drone shots. I think of the images we see from Iran or Afghanistan or something that. It's all grainy and from a distance.
Yeah, like a film camera. Yeah, I mean, they've been probably using drones for the last 4 or 5 years, but they're usually just like establishing shots, right? It's here's a shot of the city. Here's just those establishing shots where it doesn't matter. It's now cheaper to shoot that than to hire a helicopter. That's becoming more popular. But the fact that they're using them for in-action shots is, I think, pretty new. I don't know if this movie can take credit for being the first to do it. There's probably been some independent films that have done it because they didn't have a choice. They can't afford. It's cheaper to buy an expensive drone than to buy a Steadicam rig.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And if you're one of those like teenagers that bought a drone and you became like this expert drone flyer, I'm sure there's a job for you in Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Every time I've tried to fly one that ends up flying into a ceiling or, getting stuck in my hair.
No, they're not easy to maneuver at all. I mean, I'm sure they get better every year, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and again, those are probably, guys wearing goggles and, really expensive controllers, and they have a lot of practice and a lot of prep. And I mean, especially the shot into the hospital, they probably practiced that, 20 times before they tried to shoot it or something. I don't know. There's so many things that can go wrong with that, the drone pilot misses and crashes into the side of the building or something like that. There's lots of ways to make that dangerous. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say before I play some clips? No? All right.
No, I think we're good.
We covered it all.
All right. I got some good clips here, and I'll start with this one.
I'm sending Suzanne to assist.
I'd rather you punch me in the dick.
I will gladly punch you in the dick, Lloyd.
Now,
I love that.
I had to. I captured that because it was funny, but then it reminded me of this, and Andrew will appreciate this.
And I'm going to punch that Bleecker kid in the wiener next time I see him.
There you go.
Yeah. I almost said that, but then I figured, Sean's probably got that queued up. So.
Yeah, I actually was ready for it this time, and usually when I'm bad about it, I was ready for it. Like the whole flare gun situation with the thing. I can't believe I don't have that handy. Oh well, that's fine.
Andy, was that a pun because it's handgun?
No, I didn't. No. You're better at this than I am. No, we watched the movie Sahara. I keep all of our clips from movies, and I just do a nice big long search here. And I was looking for the flare gun bit, and I can't find it. So that's fine. Not a problem. Time for, let's see, this one here was funny. Yeah.
You know what makes me sad, Don?
Your small hands. So how's the private sector treating you? Does it pay as well as they say, or do you spend most of your time strangling cats?
Who likes cats?
I like cats.
There you go. I edited that, but I liked the bit when he says your small hands.
It made me think of those Burger King commercials with the little hands.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Okay. Let's see. We've got, what is this one? Number 3. Oh yeah, this is good.
Let me give you a word of advice, Lloyd. They say that life in its most unadorned expression is a battle of wills. Six's will is preternatural compared to yours.
Don't say preternatural to me. It's an asshole word.
You're a child.
It's an asshole word. I like that.
We did not mention about how amazing Billy Bob Thornton was in this. I just love that he can just be so good at whatever role he's in, whether, he's a POS or
French
a good guy who's yes, I said that when we were talking about French fry potatoes. I love that movie. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, anytime I make French fries, I have to say that. My kids have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nice. Nice. That's funny. By the way, I found it.
Rudy! I shot a guy with a flare gun. Flare gun? Cool.
The reason why I couldn't find it is because I spelled flare gun wrong. That's why it didn't come up. So there you go. Anytime there's a flare gun, I played that clip. So I'm going to keep that handy right there. Okay. This one?
So unless you want our name spilled across every news alert, on every phone, in every pocket on Earth, shut up and go sit in the corner.
Shut up and go sit in the corner.
Do you have the one about why he's walking funny?
No.
That was a great moment.
No, I didn't, but that is funny. It's like I shot in the ass.
Yeah. I've already seen a few TikToks with that sound.
Nice. As an IT professional, as I am, I really appreciated this.
Well, get it back on before I beat you to death with that keyboard.
There you go.
Nice.
Yep. I didn't capture any of the part about not throwing the loaded gun, but this is her response to that.
If you're gonna take his gun, make sure he's loaded.
There you go. Here's a little bit of Chris Evans monologuing.
Now, normally at this point in the night, I wouldn't be sticking around. With the house lights about to come on, I find a desperate, ugly chick to lick my wounds and split. But you have been a pebble in my shoe since the very beginning.
His whole monologue is like 4 minutes long. I thought about capturing a bunch of it, but that was kind of the best part, in my opinion.
Well, he might not have a pebble in his shoe. It might be a blister from not wearing socks with those shoes.
Well, he does. I mean, he literally takes his shoe off at one point and dumps out all the rocks. I mean, like they literally, he says the joke, and then a minute, like in their first kind of foray at each other, he literally sits down and dumps rocks out of his shoes. And I'm also contractually obligated. If you say the name of the movie in your movie, I must capture it.
He tore through 30 of the best operatives in the world. Why would I waste an asset?
He spits his grain, man. He's not going to do anything you say.
He will.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, cool. So this part of the game, or it's time for the game, and this week the game is sponsored by...
It's time to feel the rage. Join us on Film Rage, where we talk movies, current releases, coming attractions, streaming, and classic films as well. Directors and actors, beware as you cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim.
Hey.
And Murray.
Yo. Why is it you always talk all the time? I can't understand why your voice is so...
This is the Merman, the voice of reason. These two can't agree on anything most of the time. Some movies are mondo, some are just suck. Every week, something is going to make us rage. Join us every Wednesday and
feel the rage.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
It is time to play Hey, Did You Notice? This is the game where Andrew comes up with things that are in the movie that are rather obscure and things we probably didn't notice because they were shooting a lot of guns.
Just a heads up, I have to hop off in a minute. I didn't realize the time. My wife has a project she has to do, I guess. So just a heads up.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Then just stick around until you got to go. And in the game, this will be a back and forth. So it's going to be you two versus me. And
toast.
So you guys can collaborate and go back and forth. You guys get the first question. If you get it wrong, I have a chance to steal. Best out of 5 wins. I would say normally I would send you stickers, but I've already sent you stickers. So when I get new stickers, I will send you new stickers. All right, let's play.
All right. So, Lauren and Matthew, you guys are going to go first. Question number 1. What year is Six originally eligible for parole?
2030 something. Matt, you want to elaborate?
That was like 2032. I can't remember.
All right. That's your final answer?
Yeah, I guess.
What did we answer?
2032.
All right, that works.
All right, that's incorrect. Sean?
I thought it was 2031.
It is 2031.
See, but if you average my answer and Matt's answer, we were correct.
That's true.
Exactly.
All right, Sean, this question goes to you. In our first fight scene with Six, he stabs 3 of Sierra 4's security or buddies there with 3 different items. What are they?
Oh, geez. One of them was a hairpin. It was a hair thingy. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them.
That's one.
One of them looked like a fondue skewer.
Okay.
Like a long, thin, and we do fondue at the house. You know what fondue sticks are. Yeah, the little fondue skewer.
I know what that is.
And that means that's not the correct answer. And the third one was...
Speaking of Captain America and Peggy Carter, you do fondue? Sorry, I'm trying to distract you so you lose.
And the last one was just a steak knife.
All right. We're going to go on to Matt and Lauren. Do you guys have a guess?
I have no idea. I'm not going to lie. At the beginning of this movie, my husband and I were not paying the most attention.
Yeah, I was just enjoying the ride. I'll be honest. I can't remember.
So was I.
Yeah, that's the point of the game is that, Andrew is mean.
Yeah. So yes, it was a hairpin or a like a chopstick type stick. I don't know what ladies call those, but yes. The second one was a steak knife.
Stick? I think I'm gonna guess chopstick.
Yeah. The second one was a steak knife.
Okay.
Not a fondue skewer.
No, I got.
And then
knife.
the third one was a broken champagne bottle.
Oh, the broken champagne bottle.
Champagne bottle.
Yeah. That's right. All right. Well, I got 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Yeah. I don't give you the point though.
That's fine.
All right. So Lauren and Matt, back to you. Upon clearing Floor's body, while looking for the drive, they take his wristwatch, phone, money clip, a lighter, and one more item. What was
really hoping the answer was going to be watch. It's not the USB drive. You said that.
No, that's in the necklace because he took that already.
Is it a picture of somebody he cares about?
No.
I have no idea.
I can't remember. We're terrible. I don't know.
All right, Sean.
Say the items that they say it again, Andrew.
All right. So they list them, and then somebody reads this back to them on the phone. So we have a wristwatch, phone, money clip, a lighter, and one other item.
Is it a ring? That's not even our turn anymore.
I thought it. I know you say money clip, but for some reason I thought that he had like a wallet on him too.
Well, yeah, they show it's like a wallet with a clip on it.
Oh, okay.
And that's they call that a money clip.
Oh.
That's what they show in the. All right, the answer is a pen.
No,
he had a pen.
A pen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a pen you write with, or like a pen? Oh.
Yeah. All right, Sean.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Mm-hmm.
During the conversation with Claire at the pool, where she's sitting on his jacket, she points out the tattoo of the name Sisyphus, which is the Greek story, tattooed on his left arm. On his right forearm, there's another tattoo.
Gosh dang it!
What was it?
It's the banjo from 2 episodes ago. I don't know.
No.
I don't think I've seen this same movie. I think we're done.
I don't know.
There is a.
It says mom.
There is a bronco or a horse on his forearm, tattooed on his forearm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Last question.
There you go. Time go for the tie.
Okay. And if you do get a tie, I do have a tiebreaker. What level or floor of the hospital at the end of the movie was 6 being kept on? You see them in the elevator. They descend. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. They descend to
in
a
like
certain
the
floor.
basement.
But what floor was it?
It was the basement, lower level.
Just the
How low can
basement.
you go? This isn't fair. We don't have basements in Florida. I feel prejudiced against. I'm going to go with 6 because Sean was holding up 6.
That is incorrect.
It was 6. I had the clip.
You bamboozled me.
I was 6.
Does he say that in the clip?
I don't have the actual. Gosh dang it. He says the 6th floor. What floor is he being kept on? 6. It's the most secure one. I could have swore that he says 6. Oh, now I'm. What do you think it is?
I guess we'll figure it out.
Well, on screen it shows when they get off of the elevator, it's basement level 3, B3.
We should get half credit.
I think you should get whole credit because the movie said 6.
Now, if they say 6, that's kind of weird.
Weird.
I'm
could be a continuity error there.
I'm annoyed by that because why would they say one thing and then show you something else? You know.
All right, we'll throw that.
There's no 13th floor.
Let's throw that question
here.
out.
Here, hang in there. Just real quick. I mean, I have it pulled up right here.
Okay.
He tore through 30 at the best.
Nope, almost. Because this was the last clip I played. I pulled from.
Where are they keeping 6?
Basement, most secure floor.
Oh gosh, dang it!
Oh yeah, see.
Where are they keeping 6 in the basement? Gosh, dang it! I tried to help
so
you
they
out.
didn't even say 3. You just had to have seen it.
Yeah.
Gosh, dang it! I could have swore
these are
this.
intense questions.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go ahead and read my tiebreakers because they're fun. What type of gun does Fitz offer? Either of you can answer. I don't know. Fitz at the beginning of the movie offers him some gum while he's.
It's watermelon flavored, fruit stripe watermelon flavored or something.
Oh, fruit stripe.
Fruit stripe is last 6 seconds. He wouldn't have. Yeah. He wouldn't have talked for fruit stripe.
But it was watermelon flavored. I don't remember what.
I think he's right. Yeah. I remember because he's like, I'm not.
Lauren has to wrap this up because I actually have to go. I am so sorry.
See you, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
I am so sorry. For being on. Thank you.
That's okay.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
It was a Bubblicious watermelon wave.
Hey,
Nice.
You got watermelon.
Yeah. And then I did have another question just for fun. How many trombones were in the band at the funeral that Fitz attended?
Why you counted that?
I think it was 7.
I don't know. It was like in my face as they marched by, and there were 2 of them.
Oh, so I was probably okay. So 7 was a bit much.
Nice. I like it.
So I don't really know who won this.
We're gonna call it. We're gonna call it.
We'll call it a draw.
We'll call it a draw because I cheated and tried to help them out, but I was wrong because I misheard the quote. So.
I didn't know there was levels of basements anyway. I mean, I guess that makes sense to an extent, but I only remembered basement.
Yeah, that's all right. Did Matt by chance send you? I know he'd leave. Did he send you like an out of 10 or anything like that? Our score, Lauren?
Oh yes. I don't. Did he send me his score?
Yeah, just text him real quick and just say, hey, what would you give this movie out of 10? That way we can have it for the thing.
So before we go on real quick, there is a TV series. Now I have not looked into this at all. I just saw it pop up. It's top 10 on IMDb this week. This is why I saw it. It is called The Old Man.
Yeah.
And it is a former CIA officer who's living off the grid, finds himself on the run from people that want to kill him. And it's Jeff Bridges, right? I think.
Yeah, Jeff. The old man is Thanos. What's his name? Yeah.
But anyway, the old man in this
Brolin.
movie.
Thank you.
Josh Brolin. Thank you. Not Jeff Bridges.
But he's in the movie too, I think.
Is he?
I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
I could be wrong.
But anyway, I saw that and we were talking about the old man in this movie, and I thought, I wonder if these are related in any way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. So I'm wrong. So it is Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is the lead. John Lithgow. What am I thinking of? Isn't there a movie called The Old Man?
I don't know.
I don't either. It's fine. Doesn't matter. What matters is
all I knew is that Josh Brolin was Thanos. That was the only bit of information.
You're all over it.
So Matt did give me his score.
Awesome. That's great. All right. Well, time for this.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
This is where we give the movie. No, this is where we play our top 3. Is what I was trying to say. This is our top 3, and our category this week is movies with the CIA movies. So, I will let Lauren go first.
All right. So I got Tenet.
Okay.
And Sum of All Fears.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to throw you for somewhat of a loophole, and I'm going to say The Interview.
Yeah. Nice.
The Interview. Oh, I don't know why I forgot about that movie, but yes. All right. You won't have Matt's.
It wasn't great.
It's fine.
It was just entertaining. Give me a minute and I'll get Matt's.
Yeah, get Matt's.
We actually discussed them beforehand, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do mine while you're getting those. So I did 4. So my honorable mention is going to be Sneakers because they're barely in it at the end. It's not a CIA movie. They're kind of in at the end, but it's an excuse to say Sneakers, so I'm going to say it. So my number 3 is American Ultra.
Okay.
That we did with Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Red, Retired Extremely Dangerous, Bruce Willis movie. I liked that movie a lot.
That was a good one. That was almost made mine.
Yeah. And my number 1, speaking of Jack Ryan from Sum of All Fears, I picked The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
My favorite.
That was going to make my list, but I figured it would be on yours. So
yeah. Well, it's because it's a favorite of mine.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew, what you got?
I too had. I have 4. Two had The Interview and Red. So I'll go ahead and say Red. I'll say Red 2. Make that on my list. And then at number 2, I had 13 Hours with John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then number 1, I have True Lies.
Oh, yes.
I forgot that was a CIA movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's my number 4.
Agent. Yeah. So
actually, that's my number 1.
Yeah, True Lies is great. And and 13 Hours, probably one of my favorite Michael Bay movies. I mean, it's a really good movie. And when people hear that it's Michael Bay, they go, "Oh, really?" But no, seriously, it's good. check it out.
I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that one out.
It's the Benghazi story, right? So like you've heard about.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I got distracted by Twitter, and I'll explain why in just a second. Basically, it's the non-political story behind Benghazi. It's just the story of the soldiers that were there, that were under siege, that eventually got away and whatever. So if you want to know the Hollywood kind of, it's obviously Hollywooded up a little bit, but from what I've read, it's very true to the accounts that the soldiers told of what happened that day. And again, there's no political, it's not any whatever. It's just this is what happened. So if you want a good war story and you want to see John Krasinski with a beard doing badass things, go watch 13 Hours. Excuse me.
I'm gonna change a movie on my list.
Okay.
I'm gonna trade out Red 2 for Bridge of Spies.
Okay, yeah, that is a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
And it's Tom Hanks. Anytime I can talk about Tom Hanks film,
okay,
I'm going to.
That's fair. All right, I have Matt's list.
Yeah, great. Go for it.
He's got Mission Impossible, Bourne Identity, and Atomic Blonde.
All right. Nice. Very cool. Twitter jumped in with we had a few from Twitter, and by a few, I mean one. Good friend of the show, listener, Maxton, gave us Safe House and Central Intelligence. I don't know if he
that's The Rock and
Kevin Hart.
And Kevin Hart, yeah.
Yeah, basically, if you think The Rock is in it, then Kevin Hart's probably going to be in it too.
I was going to say, are they in movies without each other?
Yeah, there was a time. I mean, one of my favorite, probably my favorite The Rock movie, Dwayne Johnson movie, is The Rundown, and Kevin Hart's not anywhere near that movie. But the Kevin Hart character is Sean William Scott. It's basically the same person. So thank you, Maxton. He was the only one that participated. I got 2 other comments, which is what really threw me off. So someone posted 2 out of 5 chuds. I guess they were giving me their score for their podcast does chuds as, from 2 to 5. So they didn't like it a lot. And then I get what distracted me is the tweet was hidden, and it said this tweet may contain offensive material, and it had to hit. I had to hit the show button, and I thought, well, who posted something offensive on my tweet? And I'm not going to say who it is. It just says, "Wow, this sounds awesome. Would you wish your podcast to become popular and heard by millions of active audience globally?" Like, I just got a podcast promotion on my tweet for this movie. That has never happened. Legit, that's never happened. So I don't know if that means we've raised to the level where we're now getting spam from podcast promoters. I don't know, but
yeah, high level spam.
Go the hell.
Congratulations! I'm glad I was on this episode where you made it.
Yeah. Go somewhere else. I don't want your stuff on my whatever. That's it. That was it. Okay, time for this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
This is where we give the movie a score from 1 or 0 to 10. I don't think anybody's going to give this movie a 0, but we start with Andrew.
Okay. I have already closed IMDb. I usually tell what we have on that one.
By the way, I found out what I was thinking of. The old boy is Josh Brolin. I got those conflated.
6.5 is what this is on IMDb.
All right.
I'm going to go a little higher. for the camera work, for the acting. We didn't mention the character of Claire, the girl who played Claire, Julia Butters.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was really, really good. Just snarky enough, while at the same time, you could tell she's kind of vulnerable as an actor because of her illness, and she's doing a great job there. But none of the actors did a bad job, like it's already been said tonight. But because of those two factors, I'm going to go a little higher. So I'm going to say a 7.2 out of 10.
All right. Lauren.
So I went with a 7 out of 10. I liked it, but again, I just felt the story was lagging. And Matt liked it a smidge better. He gave it an 8 out of 10.
All right. That's very good. I also like this movie a lot. I had a good time with it. I'm not going to scroll back and look what I did for Extraction, but I like this just under Extraction. I mean, we've watched now, Andrew, I don't know off the top of my head, we've probably watched 7 or 8, 9, made for streaming films.
Yeah.
But this and Extraction are my, two favorites. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of movies like Red Notice, which I was reading the trivia. There's 2 pieces of trivia I actually want to mention that were pretty great. One was that this movie was, in fact, as of 2022, the most expensive movie made for trivia, including Red Notice. Red Notice was also a $200 million movie, and The Irishman at $250 million.
Yeah.
But
did anyone finish The Irishman?
No. I had it on my watch list and then never played it.
Yeah.
I feel like I started it. It's a very long movie, and I usually very much so like movies like that. I don't think I know anybody who got to the end.
I don't either. But I also haven't asked anybody. The other piece of trivia, we don't read trivia a lot anymore, but this was great. And Andrew, you would appreciate this. The final set piece of the film is set and filmed at the Chateau de Chantilly, north of Paris. This location was used for the World War I first-person shooter video game Battlefield 1 for the map Ballroom Blitz. Even though the Chateau was never involved in any actual battles during the Argonne Offensive, the film does stage a battle sequence through the location that closely resembles the multiplayer match in Battlefield 1. I didn't pick up on that, but now that I've said that, I totally see it, which is great. So I played the hell out of Battlefield 1.
I never played that, so
yeah,
I wouldn't know, but I do appreciate it.
Of course you do. I'm going to give this movie a 7.9 fireworks to the face. I had a good time with this. I really liked it. And yeah.
Actually, I want to change my rating to 7 out of 10 fingernails.
Oh, because that's all he's got left.
There you go. Well, I don't think he has any left now.
Well, I don't know. We see him pull 2, and then the next scene is that they're heading towards Prague or wherever.
But when Billy Bob Thornton kapowies, does fingernails survive that?
Well, I guess you're right. I guess he has none. I do like his last line is boring. and Evans just says, I think he called him a douchebag or something, right? Didn't he say something? It's like, oh, he douche or something like that. I can't remember what he said, but he throws one of his guys in the way. I love it.
Yes, it was amazing. He grabbed the guy as a human shield.
Yeah. Oh, Evans is such a dick in this
look
movie.
at that. Evans using a shield, but instead of being a vibranium frisbee, it's a human.
It's a dude. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, he's come a long way.
Yes, he has. But that gives this movie a score of 7.525, which I think is pretty good. I mean, that's parked right around where we did Nightmare Alley and some other. That's also right around Grosse Pointe Blank. I'm okay with that. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time with this movie. I really did. So go watch it is what I'm saying. Invest 2 hours. Lauren, you're here to fly solo, but again, tell our listeners where they can find your show and all that good stuff, because my listeners, you should definitely check out their show. It's great.
So yeah, like I said at the beginning, we're part of Hops News. So if you want to find us on the podcast, you just search Hops News. And if you want to follow us on any of the socials, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Hops Geek News. So that's hops with an S, like hops that are in beer, geek, and news. And yeah, I mean, we have a lot of fun doing it. Matt's fantastic on the Twitter. He's very interactive. I handle the Instagram and most of the TikTok, and he does the Facebook and the Twitter. And it's a good time. If you're into any of the Star Wars, Marvel, DC, I mean, we did an episode about Jaws during Shark Week. So it's really just stuff we enjoy doing.
Yep.
And sometimes I make him do things he doesn't like a Supernatural episode. And sometimes he makes me do things I don't like a Lord of the Rings episode. So it's tit for tat.
Nice.
It's all fun.
Yeah, I've been trying to weasel my way on your show for a while. One of these days, I'll find a way in there.
Just pick a topic and let us know.
Okay.
It's just with all the new stuff coming out too. We try to do an episode. Like if Andor's coming out, we're gonna do an episode about that beforehand, and She-Hulk and whatnot. But yeah, it's been fun. We've made a lot of. I mean, you guys know this. We've made a lot of amazing friends too through podcasting.
Yeah. Oh, the same. I mean, I wish I would have realized how beneficial Twitter was as a tool. Because again, we've been doing this show 8.5 years, and I didn't start using Twitter as a tool, truly a tool, until about 2 years ago, and just didn't quite realize how beneficial it was. I mean, our numbers have gone up since then, but also having other podcasts as guests. I mean, we've had guests on before, but they were my buddies. And one of my buddies is a recording artist, which is pretty awesome. But having other podcasters that are, professionals has been really awesome, and it's really been a lot of fun. And yeah, making a lot of new friends. So you were 100% right about that. That's been a lot of fun for that.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's our show, right? I have nothing more to say other than thank you all so much for listening. Go to our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. You can also check out our Patreon. We have a Patreon now. Go give us $1. That'd be great. Just, $1 a month to pay for. I mean, we have 400 episodes. In fact, I got to give you the update. We have a listener who's gone back and started from episode 1. So
Denise.
Yes, Denise has done that. And she, as of today's recording, she is at episode 37. And she's gone through.
Hi, Denise.
She's gone through. Well, she won't hear this for a long time.
I was going to say it's going to take her a while.
This is the second week in a row I've said hello, and I know she won't hear it for a while, but
yeah.
We just want to say thanks for listening.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. So I did suggest to her when she gets close to episode 50, maybe we'll do a rewatch along of Star Crash. What do you think? That sounds fun. Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Not do an episode, just watch it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie since the 50th episode of the show.
Lauren, have you ever seen Star Crash?
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, it's such a film. Star Crash. Imagine it was an Italian director who claims he had never heard of Star Wars. Did a complete Star Wars ripoff in 1978.
And he called it Star Crash.
It's called it Star Crash, but it stars, well, the two main stars are people you've never heard of, but it features the theatrical debut of his name, David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
And
how old is this movie?
1978.
Oh, so it was a year after Star Wars.
Yeah. It was the year after.
Oh, right. And it was a cultural phenomenon when it came out and hit box office records, and this person didn't hear about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then
gotcha.
And then who's Christopher Plummer is also in it too.
Yeah. He's like the main bad guy, right?
No, Christopher Plummer he's the emperor, but in this world, the emperor is the good guy.
He's the emperor.
He's the emperor, but he's the good guy. It's the Count Zarthan who is the bad guy.
Oh, they have a count too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So was this movie big in Germany? Because I heard they love Hasselhoff there.
I don't know. It shouldn't have been big anywhere. It's awful. I mean, it's
ninja robots.
There are ninja robots. There's some.
I mean, that's what battle droids essentially are, kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad stop motion. There's a lot of bad graphics. The robot. I gotta play it now. The robot. So you know how C-3PO has a British accent, and for some reason, we're okay with that. But when you give your robot a Southern accent, it sounds like this.
You can't keep a good robot down.
I did not edit that. That's how.
Like Tow Mater.
Yeah.
Oh my. What is this called again? Star Crash?
Star Crash.
You should definitely check it out.
Star Crash.
It's probably not
my
streaming
goodness.
anywhere, but we'll find it. So
maybe it's on YouTube or something. I feel like Matt and I need to do like we've done a handful of movie commentaries, not too many. Like we'll do those at the holidays where we'll have fun facts that we recite while we're watching the movie. And that might be a fun one to do.
We've done that too. If legit you do that, I must be on. I have to call dibs on that because this movie is like it has a weird place in my heart for this movie.
That's how we'll kick off Star Wars month next year.
Oh, I love it. Like April, like April Fools. This would be a good April Fools one or something.
There you go. That's perfect. Or it could be Revenge of the Fifth.
Yeah. Revenge of I can't believe you made me watch this. But anyway, I was in the middle of my promo to say thank you to all of our listeners. Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/cheapseatreviews. Just say, $1 a month to say thank you for 400 episodes of content. That would be great. Also, we have a merchandise, so go buy some stuff from us there too. That would be cool. New stickers are coming. I promise. We just need to wait for the store to have a sale so I can make some stickers. Next episode, if I'm right, next episode should be Edward Scissorhands. So next week we're doing Edward Scissorhands with a very special guest. I'm very excited for that. And then after that, I guess I'm going to tease it here. We have a very special, like podcasting royalty, at least for me, guest. And we are doing my favorite movie of all time. We are watching Serenity. So it is happening. It's kind of a big deal because it was supposed to be our first episode ever, and it didn't work out. So 400 and I don't know how many episodes it'll be. We're finally doing Serenity, and I'm very excited.
Looks really excited.
Well, I haven't seen it before. I mean, all the way through. I've seen parts, so I'm kind of excited.
Either.
You've never seen Serenity?
I've seen some of it.
No, that was more
makes you want to yell like Serenity now.
Yeah, I know. It's my favorite movie. I love it, and I can't wait to talk about it. But I guess I have to. So that all being said, Lauren, thank you so much for being here. This was an absolute blast, and I'm so thrilled to have you on. And so on behalf of Lauren and Matt and Andrew and Sam, this is Sean saying thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for Edward Scissorhands.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.